Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nasalli ala rasulihil kareem. So we studied the basic nawasib. We said there's lan, there's kai, there's idhan, and then there's an. So we started off with lan, no details in lan, it gives nasab in all conditions. The second one was idhan, no kai, there is details, we haven't gone through those details, it's not important. Then we had idhan, there were some details, the rules were it must be musaddara, the fa'il mudari must be mustaqbil, and there must be no fasila. If there is a fasila, the fasila can only be a qasam. Any other fasila, any other separation, it does not allow it to do amal. And then we also mentioned a very important rule mentioned in the Quran, that if there's a fa or waw before the idhan, both are permissible. In the Quran, when the waw and fa comes before, fa idhan wa idhan, then there is no amal. The word after is in a marfu state. And the last one was an, and we mentioned one simple example, but now we're going into much more detail regarding an. Okay, everybody following? Ready for the lesson today? Very important lesson today. Okay. Now let's look at the word an. Okay, we have the word an. The word an can come after the word alima. Now, when you say alima, what does alima show? No. Is it certainty or uncertainty? Certainty. So alima means certainty. Normally, verbs that come before an are what you call a subjunctive tense. It's not like certain. For example, I wish to go to Medina. So uridu ya uhibbu an adhaba ila al-Madina. Is adhaba ila al-Madina certain? We make dua that Allah destines it for us, but it's not certain, isn't it? I want to go to Makkah, I want to perform Hajj, I want to perform Umrah, I want to acquire knowledge, I want to write books, I want to, this is uhibbu an. Is it certain? No. Uridu an. Is the thing after uncertain? No. When you have alima, alima an sayakunu minkum. So when you have alima, after an, the things after an is to know. So when you know something, it's certain, isn't it? So really, when you have an after alima, it's not really an masdariya. An masdariya is for things which are possibilities. Uridu an adhaba, I wish to go. Uhibbu an a'tamira, to do, I love to perform umrah. Akrahu an something, I dislike to do such and such a thing. So normally, an after it has like things which are not facts. But ilm has fact after it. So that's why in the Quran, for example, يَعْلَمُونَ أَنَّهُ الْحَقِّ. Yes? That comes in the Quran, isn't it? يَعْلَمُونَ, they know that it is the truth. يَعْلَمُونَ أَنَّهُ الْحَقِّ. So usually after alima you have anna, because anna is for certainty and an is for uncertainty. Are you following? You got this? Abdul Rahman, Abdullah, Umar? Yes? So we have an, pardon me? What's that? So let's say right here, anna is certainty, and an is for non-factual, so it's called subjunctive, meaning something that could happen, will happen, may happen, you want it to happen. You don't need to know the English tense, but just like this subjunctive means like possibly subjective, it may or may not happen. So now, when you have, and the thing is, the funny thing is, not the funny thing, the thing that you need to pay attention towards, the Arabs, what did they do? The anna, sometimes they make it an. This anna, which is for certainty, it becomes an sometimes. So then this an, which is really anna, and this an, which is an from the beginning, they look the same. So the anna for certainty becomes the same as the an for subjunctive. Do you understand? So what he's explaining here is that if an comes after alima, ilm, what is alima? Alima, or anything to do with faith, like ayqantu, I know for certain. If you have an, would this be the original an, or the an which is called an al-mukhaffafa, the lightened? What does lightened mean? The shadda has been taken off. So shadda, takhfif. So an al-mukhaffafa. So what does an-mukhaffafa mean? The an without the shadda. So when you have alima followed by an, is this an masdariya or is it an mukhaffafa? What do you think it's going to be? An? An masdariya. Why do you think it's an masdariya? Because alima shows what? So would it be an masdariya or an mukhaffafa? Mukhaffafa. Because alima was to show certainty. So after alima we should really have anna, which is for emphasis. But then for some reason they make it mukhaffaf. So therefore, when you have anna, it doesn't do amal. Because there's other rules of this. But there's no, this wouldn't make the fa'il mudari after it mansub. For example, alima an sayaku what? Na or nu? Nu. What's there is sayakunu in? Marfu. So it has, so somebody might ask a question, well, why does an an do nasab? We say, well, it's not an masdariya. The an masdariya, if you go back to our previous slide, what do we say? Bi an al masdariya. So an is masdariya, we know it's masdariya, but this in the ayah is not an masdariya. What kind of an is it? An mukhaffafa. Is an mukhaffafa one of the nasiba? No. An masdariya, kay masdariya, lan, and idhan. Those are nasiba, not an mukhaffafa. So when you have an mukhaffafa, there is no amal. So therefore, alima followed by an will not make the word after it mansoob. Understood the first point? Okay. Second point is dhanna. Dhanna means to think. So it's a bit between certainty, a bit between uncertainty. It's half-half, so it's half-half as well. What's the ruling? You can do both. Wajhan means both are permissible. Do you understand? So if you have an preceded by the word dhanna or hasiba, to think, yes, then you can do both ways. You can say hasiba, dhanna, anything that has the same meaning of thinking, probably, perhaps, maybe. Then you can do, what's wajhan? Which is either one is what? Yeah, so you can say basically the one after is masdariya. Therefore, if it's masdariya, what would it be? Yeah, not fatha, it would be mansoob. It's mansoob, and here will be what? Marfu'. And if you have any other verb, then it's going to be an masdariya, that will definitely give a nasab. So this was mentioned yesterday. Any verb apart from alima or dhanna, and anything in the meaning of alima and dhanna, any of these verbs come, is going to make an masdariya, it will give a nasab. However, if an is preceded by alima or something like alima to show certainty, it would not be anna, it would not be an masdariya, it would be an mukhaffafa, which was originally anna. And if you got dhanna, you can do half-half. Both ways are permissible. Have you understood the mas'ala? Have you understood the mas'ala, Muhammad? The rule, have you understood the rule? Yes. So, G. So what we say is that anna, what we're saying is that anna is used for verbs which show certain facts. So alima and alima. So when you have anna, that means the thing after is a fact. Anna Zaidan qa'imun. Zaid is standing. That's a fact. So if I would say alimtu anna Zaidan qa'imun. I know that Zaid is standing. Alimtu anna Zaidan ghaibun. I know Zaid is absent. Alimtu anna Zaidan maridun. I know Zaid is ill. But when you have something which is not a fact, it is a wish, a request, a command, and it has then you use an. So for example, uridu an adhaba ila Makkah. I wish and desire to go to Makkah. Uhibbu an a'tamira. I wish, I love to go and perform umrah. Do you understand? Pardon me? Yeah. So we're trying to differentiate that it looks like an, so then the an can actually be an mukhaffafa or an masdariya. So when you have an, how do we know what kind of an is it? Is it an masdariya or an mukhaffafa? So if you have alima before it, it's an mukhaffafa. If you have dhanna before it, or anything the meaning of dhanna, like hasiba, it can be both. It can be masdariya or mukhaffafa. And if you have something which is not alima, not dhanna, not in the meaning of alima and dhanna, then you call this what? An masdariya, definitely. Do you understand? So now if you go back to the previous slide, what do we have here? What did he say? He says here, وَبِأَنْ أي mudari is made mansoob with an masdariya. Yes? Yes? Then he says, ma can also mean, this is ma. What kind of ma is this? You say this called this ma masdariya dharfiyya. And you all know from the context. This is called, what kind of ma is this? Ma masdariya dharfiyya, meaning as long as. As long as, ma, as long as. Sabaqa yasbiqu wasabiqu ila maghfiratin, hasten, compete with each other, pass out. And sabaqaka biha ukash, come in the hadith, he has passed you out. He has to pass out somebody. So tusbaq, as long as it is not preceded, passed out, meaning it comes before it. So we can translate tusbaq as preceded. What's the naibul fa'il? The an. As long as the an is not preceded by ilm. What does ilm mean? It's not ignorant. Is that what it means? No, it means it is not preceded by a verb which gives the meaning of ilm. Do you understand? So the word an will give, the word the word after a nasab, as long as the word an is not preceded by a verb which gives the meaning of ilm. For example, alima an sayakunu minkum marda. Alima an sayakunu minkum marda. So what do you have here? We have an an. Don't we have an an here? And after, but it's preceded by what? Alima, which gives knowledge, certainty. So therefore, it will not do nasab. That's why sayakunu. Do you understand? فَإِن سُبِقَتْ بِذَنٍّ, if it is preceded. فَإِن سُبِقَتْ, if it is preceded. If it is preceded. If it is preceded بِذَنٍّ, if it is preceded by dhan, a word which shows the meaning of dhan. What does it show? The meaning of dhan, certainty. Not certainty, dhanna, to think. فَإِن سُبِقَتْ بِذَنٍّ, if it is preceded by dhan, فَوَجْهَانِ, then two ways are permissible. For example, وَحَسِبُوا أَلَّا تَكُونَ فِتْنَةٌ. So hasiba means to think. So they think that there will be no test. So now in our qira'ah, how do we read this? وَحَسِبُوا أَلَّا تَكُونَ. So according to one, this is now what? Nasiba. But if it was not Quran or the other qira'ah, what do they read it as? An takunu. Okay, nasiba. This is then rafa. Then what in this case? It will be mukhaffafa. You can read it both ways. Do you understand? Okay. So it's like including. No. An. Okay, so let me clarify that one again. So what we're saying, we have two words. We have the word anna. We have the word an. Okay? So what's anna used for? The certainty. Yes? And an is used for? Subjunctive. Okay? Yes? But what can happen to anna? You can do takhfif of it. What does it become? An. So even though these two look alike, are they the same? No, they look alike. That's why it's clarifying. Anytime you see the word an, you have to know, well, every an is not masdariya. One an can be mukhaffafa and one an can be nasiba. And how do we differentiate? We differentiate between an mukhaffafa and an nasiba by the verb that precedes it. If it's preceded by a verb of ilm, it will be an mukhaffafa. If it's preceded by something that does not show knowledge or dhan, it is masdariya. If it's preceded by dhan, you can use both ways. Does that make sense now? Yes. Any other questions before we go on? So, ma lam tusbaq, the fa'il, the an will give the word after it nasab, provided it is not preceded by ilm. For example, alima an sayakunu minkum marada. Allah knows that there will be ill people amongst you. فَإِن سُبِقَتْ بِظَنٍّ. If the word an is preceded by a verb which depicts the meaning of dhan, فَوَجْهَانِ. Then there are two ways to read it, as a nasiba or as a mukhaffafa. For example, our qira'ah, وَحَسِبُوا أَلَّا تَكُونَ فِتْنَةٌ. And other qira'ah is وَحَسِبُوا أَلَّا تَكُونُ فِتْنَةٌ.